discussed Leicester quite a bit last week, and the topic of actually a 12-point deduction. But iNews has reported that they're facing a minimum of 12 points. What do you make of those reports?
Yeah, I don't agree with the analysis in that report. I mean, it's premised on the fact that the EFL's sanction guidelines would suggest a 12-point deduction before mitigation, and the sort of suggestion is that not only would they be hit with the 12 points, but on top of that, they've got these additional charges for failing to cooperate and also failing to file the accounts on time. But that's not my reading of what the decision from the earlier tribunal says. It says clearly that the Premier League's independent commission is the party who will be dealing with this, not the EFL's commission. That, therefore, means that it is the Premier League rules that will dictate what the situation is there. It also means that all of the stuff that we've already read regarding Nottingham Forest and Everton and how the sanctions work in those cases should also apply to Leicester. It will then be about the quality of the barristers' submissions at that Premier League independent commission. And I think that there's a very strong chance that the parameters that the independent commission will use in coming up with their sanction will be those that were similar to the ones in Forest and Everton. Now that would dictate something like 5 or 6 points before mitigation and aggravating factors for the PSR breach of apparently £17 million. Now £17 million, coincidentally, is almost exactly Everton's second breach, which was assessed to be 3 points plus another 2 points on top before mitigation. So the only difference is that the cap applied to Leicester appears to be 83 million and not the 105. So it differs slightly there in the percentage over the limit is higher with Leicester. So I'm saying 5 to 6. Now look, as I say, it could be completely wrong, and we may well have a situation where the board effectively say, look, we as the Premier League Commission are effectively acting on behalf of the EFL, and therefore we should follow their guidelines. But I don't see that. I think the barristers will have a good argument that in any event with Leicester, 2 of the 3 seasons in that review period are Premier League seasons, and it's a Premier League commission. So to me, it seems much more likely that it's the Premier League sanction process that prevails and not the EFL process. Now, we know that from the Premier League process, the EFL guidelines are persuasive and do play a part in the analysis, but I don't see that they're going to override all of the Premier League deliberations within Nottingham Forest and Everton on how to apply penalties for PSR breaches. So, look, we'll see. I've also said that if they can, they should take a 12-point hit. Try and take it now, literally today, because we're getting close to the last possible time. I'm not sure when the AGM is, but I think it's probably back end of next week. And at that point, Leicester City are no longer a Premier League team, and therefore the points can't be applied. But theoretically, and it is only theoretical because I don't know whether they could manage to put this all together in time. But theoretically, it would have made sense for Leicester to immediately, upon losing the case, to have said, we'll take whatever penalty you want, and we'll apply it to this season. They finish bottom of the table, they lose 2 places, no big deal there, and they're relegated, but they're relegated anyway. But they start next season with a completely blank slate. Now, I'm just trying to while we're talking, just trying to see if I can quickly find what the rules are on the sanction agreement and the time period, but I can't quickly find that. But if anybody's interested, if you to look at the Premier League rules, within there it tells you what the arrangement is for sanction agreements. And by sanction agreement, it's effectively a settlement, and it has to be ratified by the Independent Commission. But it means that it can be done quickly, and therefore, again, as I say, theoretically, it could be agreed. I think they've got 5 days to deliberate it from memory. The Independent Commission, and they can say yes, they think it's a fair settlement. It's very unlikely that if it was to go to an Independent Commission, and you said, I don't know, 12 points, for example, it's very unlikely the Independent Commission would say that's not fair. I mean, they might say, well, hang on a second, there's no real punishment here because they've already been relegated and they know they've been relegated. But I don't think that's a great argument, because that could easily have applied in April, March. So, but we don't know, right? And we probably never will know. There may be some reference to these sorts of deliberations, but maybe Leicester have got a plan as well. I don't know. You know, Leicester seem to have a lot of ideas with this sort of stuff. They seem to think that they can successfully argue around it. But that would have been my target initially. And it would have been a good solution for the Premier League as well, by the way, because the Premier League, you know, would have avoided an entire hearing. It would have avoided millions of pounds of costs. It would have got them their headline that they're penalising with 12 points, and it would have dealt with another situation efficiently. We will see.